Story 1. It was a late afternoon. I was breathing heavy as I was jogging with my border collie Daisy. It was a secluded road. No one ever passed by on it. So I felt comfortable wearing headphones. I was controlling my breathing. When I felt Daisy stop, I nearly tripped over from her stopping so suddenly. My headphones fell off my head. I called Daisy, but she wouldn't walk with me. She was staring off into the distance. I tried to find where she was looking. When I noticed a dirt road leading through the woods, I pulled her collar and whistled, trying to get her attention. It did no good. She tilted her head and started pushing her head back, whimpering. As I bent down to pick up my headphones, I felt Daisy yank the lead straight out of my hand. I threw my head up and yelled her name. I left my headphones and chased after her. I could hear her barking in the distance. Her bark went silent. I was panicking. My heart was beating. My eyes were tearing. I didn't want Daisy to get hurt. I continued walking before hearing her bark again. She wasn't far from me now. I continued following her bark until coming across some abandoned hospital. I hesitated before heading into the rusted doors. I came into a dark, dusty hallway with an old reception desk at the front. I continued walking through the hospital, now curious, but I also didn't want to stay for long. I called out Daisy's name, but I heard nothing. I kept making my way through the hall. When I come across a stairwell, I decided to head up, checking out the old hospital rooms. But I stopped when I noticed bloody handprints all over the walls in one room. I felt an eerie feeling fall over me now. I just wanted to find Daisy. I started walking quicker now, seeing blood smeared over walls in the hall. I was also breathing quicker now, panicking when I stepped on something. I looked down and saw an old ripped newspaper under my foot. I picked it up and blew the dust of it off, trying to see what it said. It was an article saying that the psych ward had been shut down due to a riot, 8 employee deaths. I heard a door shut up the hallway. I froze when I saw a tall figure standing in the dark end of the hallway. I blinked twice, telling myself it was a dream, when I heard Daisy barking downstairs. I looked away for 1 second before looking back at the figure. It roared at me before running at me full speed. I started sprinting. I could hear its footsteps thumping the ground, making me wish I was at home and safe with Daisy, before tripping and falling down the stairs. My head was bulging, but I got up as I saw Daisy standing by the front doors. I ran the rest of the way home with a cracking headache. I never told anyone what happened or what I saw, and I never ran on that road again. Story 2. This story happened when I was 8 years old. My family and I lived in a quaint area. I'm talking about 1 or 2 cars passing every now and then. We had a family dog. He was Great Dane. His name was Alfred. I remember that he was a lot bigger than me at the time, but he was always calm and quiet. In the afternoon after school, I would get home really excited to walk Alfred. My mom would always worry because of how powerful he was. My dad always convinced my mom that I was a young man and needed to learn at a young age what responsibility was. One afternoon after school, I came home upset because my class project was ruined by some bullies. But I couldn't cry because there was nothing I could do about it. That afternoon, I didn't want to take Alfred for a walk because I had to do a new class project. My dad stormed into my room. He yelled at me to get out of the house now and to walk Alfred. My dad was scary when he was angry, so I listened to what he said, even with my eyes about to cry. Alfred was sitting by the front door. I clicked the leash on him and let him out the front door. The walk started off relaxing. As I was talking out loud to myself, Alfred stopped and started to growl at something in the distance. I scanned the trees to see what he was looking at, when I noticed a tall man step out behind a tree. I still remember the rope burn leash. Alfred yanked as hard as he could and took off. Chasing the figure, I fell face first into the pavement. I screamed, "Can this night get any worse?" I stood up from the ground with skinned hands and knees, dusting myself off. wiping tears from my face. I went searching for Alfred. I called out his name in a panic. I heard leaves rustling around. I figured it was Alfred and he got an animal. When I reached the bush, I called out his name. When a man stood up out of the bush, I fell down, crawling back as he walked closer to me. His face was red and he was wearing dirty, ripped clothes. He had dark, scary eyes. I yelled at him to stay away from me, but he kept telling me he had friends in the forest and I should meet them. I didn't know what to do when I heard my dad's voice yell. He yelled at the man to stay away from me. He did a good job at scaring the guy because he took off. That night, my father told me he was sorry for shouting at me. I wasn't worried about that. I was waiting for Alfred to come home, but he never did.